So something we've been seeing a lot of recently and haven't really seen a lot of sellers talking about is Amazon zero tolerance suspensions. We started seeing these sometime last year, and essentially what it means is that if Amazon catches you violating certain policies just one time, they can take down your entire account. And not only do they take down your entire account, they also do not give you an appeal path. You don't have the option to appeal, you only have the option to dispute, which means the only path to reinstatement is to prove that you haven't violated their policies. And we're seeing this across a number of different types of suspension. The main four that I've been working on are brand registry violations, where Amazon will actually revoke your access to brand registry, not just for your current brand, but for all future brands, like you were just flagged as abusive. And you can never access brand registry again unless you prove to them that you have not abused their tools. We're also seeing this across listing policy violations, particularly variation misuse, which is pretty rife on Amazon. Again, I've seen sellers just get one variation misuse warning and their entire account gets taken down, and the only path to reinstatement is to prove that you didn't violate the variation policy or listing policy. And then restricted products is another area that we're seeing this in. There's two different kinds of restricted product type violation. We're not seeing this on the PCRP restrictions where you're making claims that you're not allowed to make on a product. What we're seeing this most with is products that aren't even necessarily illegal. It can be illegal, but often are just violations of Amazon's own policies, particularly around weapons and particularly around drug products. And again, the only way to get reinstated is to prove to them that your product is within their policies. And then the last one that we're seeing a lot of is evasive behavior. So if you get caught trying to list a restricted product by making it look like a different kind of product, that'll get your account taken down. Faking compliance information is one that I'm seeing a lot of, particularly around things like using a regulatory number from a different product on your product to try to make it look like it is approved. Also, faking documentation, faking testing. If you're caught doing any sort of fraud, once again, the only path to reinstatement is to prove that you did not do it. So there's a number of reasons why this is happening. Amazon is using a number of automated means to find this sort of behavior, and that's probably the one that we see the most often. So automated flags based on keywords, based on certain behaviors, based on a number of rejected cases. In the case of brand registry, they're using a number of automated means to find these violations, which means that there are also a lot of mistakes happening. So a lot of the cases that I work on, the sellers actually didn't violate these policies. They just received a policy warning, and then a few days later, their entire account was taken down, even though they hadn't actually violated those policies. Also seeing a number of cases where your competitor is reporting you. So they actually put in a report to Amazon about some sort of abuse, and then that causes the account to get taken down, or customer reports. So if a customer reports that a product they received was a drug or it was a weapon, that can cause the account to go down too. And then they're also looking at pattern recognition. So, Amazon is one of the largest data companies in the world. They have a lot of information. They can find patterns, which again is very effective, but also leads to a number of false flags. So what do you do if you get suspended for one of these things? The first thing you need to do is you need to go through your account. You need to go through all of the people that have access to your account. You need to go through everything that you've done, and you need to make sure that you haven't actually violated these policies. So first thing that you do is go through, figure out whether it was correct or not. And if it's not correct, if you didn't violate the policies, then you need to start gathering evidence. And by evidence, I mean documentation. So if you are being flagged for selling a restricted product, you need to find all of the regulatory documentation, manufacturer documentation, anything that proves that your product is not what they say that it is. If you are flagged for listing violations, you need to have a record of how your listings were created, particularly how they were created by you. And you need to go line by line through the policy and show Amazon how you did not violate their listing policy. If you are flagged for evasive behavior, you need to go through and prove to them that you have not committed fraud. And sometimes the fraud is not on your end. Sometimes the fraud is on a supplier side or somebody that you works with side. And in that case, you need to show chain of custody of whatever the fraudulent document was. So you need to include email files. You need to include all communications with whoever provided that falsified information to you to show Amazon that you accepted it in good faith and that you are not the person that has committed fraud. So these are sort of the most important policies to know right now, because again, these are the more difficult ones to get reinstated right now. And if you violate them, even accidentally, the chances of getting reinstated is much more difficult than any other suspension type right now. If you need any assistance with any of this, please reach out to us. We work on a lot of these. I highly recommend learning the policy yourself. Any questions, please get in touch.